time to chat. But yeah, we're going to get on with this amazing topic. So Cynthia Z. Hansen, an educational therapist and twice exceptional consultant, facilitates the growth of gifted and creative individuals with ADHD, dyslexia, and complex learning profiles. A California credentialed teacher, Cindy is president of the Tri-County Gate Council in Southern California, a facilitator for SENG Parent groups, and an advisory board member for the G-Word documentary film. For over 30 years, Cindy has led professional development, parent, and conference workshops on issues facing cognitively and neuro-diverse learners. As a doctoral candidate, is that
Excuse me?
I was going to say. And this might not be.
That's from last spring.
Yeah. So what would be as a completed doctoral?
I completed my doctorate. My doctoral studies were achieved at.
Wonderful. Congratulations. Bridges Graduate School of Cognitive Diversity and Education. Ms. Hansen focused on facilitating the positive identity development of 2E students through interactive games, which I feel like we will be experiencing tonight.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Cindy.
Thank you. Thank you.
If any of you need to use the restroom at any time, it's at the end of this hallway. So you can come out, make a right, and it's at the end of the hallway.
Right there. So yes, becoming a doctor was a very strange experience. I went to Bridges because I wanted more. I wanted to commune with my colleagues. I wanted to meet new colleagues. I wanted to do more as an educational therapist. I wanted to have an information. Am I allowed to take this off for a few minutes? Can I do that?
Yep.
Okay, just as an introduction, then I'll put it back up because I'm going to be walking around you guys. How do you start going down this road? I tease my friends and colleagues that I was educating myself out of a job. So you start as a teacher, English, can get a job anywhere, right? You start as a drama teacher, you can get yourself into great schools if you're lucky, and I was able to do that. But then you have your own kids, and that changes everything. And then you start wondering, why is my kid doing this? And why is my kid doing this? And I don't understand how my little one kept getting slower at math. How do you get slower at math when you were a math kid, brilliant at age 3? Understood adding, subtracting, the concept. When I went, oh, cool, he would look at me like I was nuts, and he would shut up and he wouldn't do it. How much is this now? Counting donut holes. He was then subtracting them. He knew exactly what was going on. And I couldn't understand it. We had to figure him out. Okay. Took us 6 years, figured him out, and then he decided to go into a different direction. My other child could talk up a storm when his words came to him. Okay, so sometimes the words got a little messed up. And so I figured, he's dyslexic, no big deal, right? I had no idea what dyslexia really was at that point. But this is his picture of himself. Okay, self-portrait. So you notice I have one that's willing to tease me now at age 25 about this picture, and the other is who's very content to stay as just as a illustration. So my artist son, who was only an illustrator, because an artist is Reuben. That's what an artist is. Picasso, illustrator. He was an illustrator until he grew into understanding the true nature of art, and then his life exploded. So he's but I had questions. I didn't know where to turn. They got into the GATE program in in Ventura, which is where I'm from, and I didn't know what that meant. I just thought he got to play on Friday afternoons. Yay, he got to play with the best teachers who got to play with them on Friday afternoons, that extra class. And that's what I thought giftedness was. That's what I wanted for him. That's all. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Until we found out that dyslexia was not only affecting his reading speed and his vocabulary development, but it was also greatly impacting his sense of self. Because just like I was, and I hadn't been diagnosed either at that point, just like me as a kid, if you can't spell, you must be stupid. If you can't read fast, you must be stupid. So that S word, which was not allowed in our home, we all felt it anyway. So this one is, I'm not smart, Mom. I'm just gifted, because he knew he could draw, right? He knew he could think, but he didn't think he was smart. And he knew he was as smart as his friends, but he couldn't do the homework at the same speed. So there's this disconnect in his life. That one, he would do what he wanted to, and you could not change his mind. So if he didn't want to do the repetitious math because he already knew it, he wouldn't. Period. Even in college, he knew what grade he wanted in English. B was fine. He got an A, the first assignment. There was 3 assignments. Because it's in college, you don't get an assignment every week. You get like 3 or 4 assignments, and they're big ones. First one, A. Second one, B. So what was his 3rd grade?
C. So it averaged out.
And he was one of a few people who actually turned it in because that's all you needed for a C. He put some effort into it. But all he wanted was a C because by then his love was in theater, and he was using all of his amazing math skills and engineering thinking and putting it into his first love, which was costuming, which is where he's working now. So I am very fortunate. He found his place in the world as a costumer. He found his place in the world as a welder and an artist. So I have succeeded in my life now. So I'm okay. 28 years. Okay, didn't happen right away, and there were a lot of traveling to care for a child who was not ready to face the world. How about that? Okay, insurance. I had to pay it, I had to get it, I had to investigate it. It's the world that we live in, those practical skills that both he and his fiance are terrified of. And it's like, you guys, you're supposed to be terrified together and get it done. And it's like, no, they call us. So it still happens, and this is the world that we live in. Because we have our successes, and then we have, who am I? What do I want to be? How can I be smart and thinking, and yet nobody understands me? So his success started when I finally talked him into seeing a colleague of mine and getting himself cognitively assessed. Highly to profoundly gifted, and she was the one that said, this is why you're so lonely. Because finding people that you can understand and talk to, that you can understand and understand you is critical. My little one, he was the one that would laugh at all the teachers' jokes, and he would be the only one. But at least he connected with all the teachers because he got the jokes. So the teachers knew who he was, even if he didn't produce. Okay, but he got out of high school, he went to a junior college, he found himself there, fortunately, and then he got into the top 2 schools that he wanted to get into, and he chose which one he wanted to go to, right? So he took a different path. Originally, he wanted to go to MIT because he had that mind. He did not have the production to go to MIT. I was terrified. When he decided to go to JC, I was so happy because I knew it was a better fit. He needed to learn more skills before he went off. And when he's in his element, both of them. But that's our kids, right? They need to find their niche. They need to find where they fit, okay? And I'm sorry, I keep doing that. But I'm also trying to distance. So They need to find where they fit. But sometimes they don't know. And in grade school through high school, they have to be generalists, right? It's not until the very end of high school that you get to choose and really focus on something that you might be interested in, or discover something that you take a risk and jump into a class that you've never taken before and see maybe that's going to be fun or maybe not. I will never forget when I went and sat in on a drama class and I thought I liked singing, but I wasn't willing to buy the skirt. This is that mentality. You know when you're not committed. When as a 7th grade student, I was not willing to go out and buy a dark blue skirt, right? So I wanted, and part of it was because I wanted to be in the audience and listen, because I knew it sounded really good and it did. But I wanted to hear the whole thing. I didn't want to be in that production. I walk into the drama class, within a week, I was willing to go to any place to buy anything so that I could become someone else. That I found my niche. I was lucky I was in 7th grade. Becoming a professional actor, completely different work. I'm a teacher. I was born a teacher. I did not know it until I was an adult. But I've been told that it's why I love working with you guys, because it's all about sharing knowledge and understanding each other. That's what teaching to me is. So, talking. Here's a break. Okay, these are our kids. Okay. It's probably easier if you guys are faster readers than I am. If I've explained it once, I've explained it 1,000 times. And if you have explained it 1,000 times, you've only explained it once. Did you explain the commutative property of numbers to Kim? I didn't think so. Then I thought so. Now I'm not sure. Because that's how we feel sometimes with our students, right? When we look at our kids, they say these profound things, and it's like, oh my gosh. When we found out about my son, then everything that he was talking about that was gobbledygook was no longer gobbledygook. It was, I'm not there. I'm so sorry. I'm listening. I care about your thoughts and your profound depth. But you're here, and now I understand why I don't understand is because I'm down here. And that's okay. So when I'm working with my students, very often they are way smarter than I am. They have much more profound depth in certain areas than I do. But I can help them in other ways. So I help them with their executive skills, getting their homework done, or working things out with classmates, or whatever else is understood about who they are. So what I ended up doing was I developed a game. And it's called the Hand Your Adult. And we're going to talk about the attributes that might come out, no matter the age, in our students and ourselves. Some of them seem like they're gifted attributes. Some of them don't. Some of them are just, this is who we are. And then we're going to look at those paradoxes and also consider, when we see an attribute, do we think that's the one, that's the best one? And if I say that's the best one, are you going to say it's the best one? And can I flip it on you? That's my job today. And then we're going to see what happens. What happens next? So this is our task, and I also work with my kids to, get through that trauma and stereotype threats, and this is where I wanted to go. Okay. So this is our task, and we're going to move the tables. Here it goes. Camera's off.